let's see how to prepare this lovely Goan bhaji pav. Now here I've taken exactly 1 cup of these white watana or white peas. I've washed it well under running water and then I've soaked it for about 7 to 8 hours or overnight. The next morning I just peeled 1 potato, diced it up and added both of them to my pressure pan by adding enough water, and I'm going to cook it for 1 whistle on high and then simmer for 10 minutes. And once the cooker is cooled, you're going to see that your peas or your white watana are completely cooked and your potatoes also are cooked, but they're not overcooked too. So you can just check one of the watanas by pressing them and you'll know that it's all ready, and so is the potato. So now let's see all the other ingredients. They are all easy. Regular ingredients we always have in our kitchen. So here is the watana with the cooked potato. Now we require 1 large onion, which I have nicely sliced very fine. Here are about 5 large cloves of garlic. This is half an inch of ginger which I've peeled and just cut up into small pieces. These are 4 dried red chilies, 2 tablespoons of fresh coconut, 1 star anise, just 1 leaf of mace or 1 petal of mace, half an inch of cinnamon, 4 lavangs or cloves. These are about 10 peppercorns or miri. This is about 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds or sauf. That is kaskas, which is again 1 teaspoon. Now besides that, I've just taken about 1 teaspoon of tamarind and soaked it in some warm water. Then we also require another medium-sized onion which I've just diced up, half a teaspoon of turmeric powder or haldi, a pinch of garam masala and some salt to taste. Now I have a recipe for homemade garam masala. I'll leave a link below. So now we are all ready to make our lovely Goan bhaji pav or tonak. Yes, I just wanted to show you my beautiful flowers. You can always, pep up your kitchen by just adding some fresh flowers and, it just peps up your mood. So let's start with today's recipe, guys. It's super easy to make and it's really, really delicious to have. So now I've taken a pan and in my pan I've just heated about 1 tablespoon of oil. Now first we're going to fry all of our masalas. So we're going to start by adding the cloves of garlic. Let them fry well. Then goes in the ginger. Keep your flame between low to medium. Now it's always good to keep a small little plate handy so you can rest your spoon on it so you don't have to later on clean up your gas stop or your platform. You can use any regular small little plate. It really helps and makes the work and cleaning process easier. Now we're going to next add our peppercorns. Now when you add the spices, keep your flame at the least. Then I've added the petal of mace, my star anise. Next goes in my cinnamon, cloves. Then goes in my khaskhas or poppy seeds. Next goes in my sauf or fennel. Then goes in my dried red chilies. And now we're just going to fry everything. At this point, you will get the lovely aroma of all these beautiful spices. Now I'm going to add my fresh coconut. Again, just give it a little bit of a fry. And then goes in my sliced up onion. Now for those of you who don't know what this Goan bhaji pav or tonak is, it's a kind of a breakfast item and you'll get it at most of the cafes, especially the old cafes that have been there in Goa for a long time. You'll have this bhaji pav served as breakfast and it's so yummy. It's so delicious. So now you got to fry all of this really well on a low to medium flame. If you fry all your masalas well, even the life of the dish remains a little longer, and also the flavor is longer. Now I'm just going to let this masala or this bagar just cool to room temperature. Then I'm going to transfer it to my blender. And then we're just going to add about a tablespoon or two of water as required. And we're going to grind this to a very, very fine paste. This is very key. We don't want it to be a coarse paste. It has to be extremely, extremely fine. So using your judgment, how much ever water you require, add that. I've added about 2 tablespoons and grind it to a very, very fine paste, maybe 3 or 4 times. You have to get a paste like this. And then we're going to use the reserve water. So that is the water which remains in your mixer pot or your grinding stone, whatever you're using. That also has all the flavors, so never get rid of that. So now we are all ready with our ingredients. Now I've added 1 more tablespoon of oil to my pan. You don't require too much of oil for usars or for this bhaji pav. Now I'm going to add my diced up onion that I had cut up roughly. Fry that well too. Then we're going to add the turmeric powder or the haldi powder. Give that a fry. Now next goes in a pinch of garam masala. Like I said, I have a recipe of homemade garam masala which is super, super simple. I'll leave a link below and you can just go and check it out. So now I'm adding my ground paste. I guess I'll add the pinch of garam masala later on. So now I'm going to add the ground paste. Now we've already fried all of these spices, so you don't need to fry this for a very long time, but just give it a good mix so that it blends very well with the onion. Mix everything nicely. Now I'm going to add my garam masala, like I said. This also adds a lovely flavor to the dish. And then we're going to add our cooked up watana or white peas and our potato. Give everything a nice mix. Then we're going to add all our reserve water. That is the water that we washed up the mixer pot with, so we don't lose any of the goodness. And then we're going to give everything a good mix. And now all we're left to do is add our salt to taste, a pinch of sugar, and our tamarind juice. Friends, if you haven't had Goan bhaji pav, then guys, make this and have it, and then you know what I'm talking about. It's just an amazing dish. So now I'm just adding some salt to taste. I think I've added about 2 teaspoons, but you add it according to your taste. Then I like to add a pinch of sugar. Give everything a nice mix. Now this goes very well only with pav. I mean, you can have it, and then I'm going to add the tamarind juice. I mean, you can have it with chapati, puri, rice, but it's best with pav because the pav soaks up all the goodness of this lovely, lovely bhaji. I know I'm going to come up with a recipe of pav very soon. I've got many requests. I've got requests from recently Maria Bocaro sent me a message saying, Akshata, when are you going to prepare homemade bread? So that's on my charts, but I think I should be preparing pav. That'll go, ideally with this recipe. So look out for my pav recipe coming up. And that's it, friends. You just cover and cook it for about 5 to 10 minutes and it's all ready. So I just took out some to taste and I just found that I needed a little bit more of salt. So I added it and it is just perfect. So like I said, the best way to eat this is with some lovely pav. And of course, if you all are in Goa and you get the Goan paos, then it's just a match made in heaven. So friends, let's start with today's lovely Goan Sorak recipe. Now here I'm taking an earthen pot, a typical Goan pot, but you can use a regular pan or a regular cooking vessel. Now I've added one medium-sized onion that I've sliced really fine, and I've added about 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to mix this very, very well, and we're going to set it aside for 10 to 15 minutes. And then the onion, will leave out some moisture, as you will see. So let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. So you can see that the onion has left some moisture. Now let's see the other ingredients. Now here I have about 1 cup of water. This is just 1 lime-sized bowl of tamarind. I've soaked in half a cup of water for 15-20 minutes. These are 2 light green chilies that I've just slit in the center. Now these are the other ingredients. 1 cup of grated coconut. These are about 7 dried red chilies. 1 tablespoon of coriander seeds. 6 peppercorns. 6 cloves of garlic and about 1 inch of ginger. And about 1 teaspoon of cumin or jeera. Now all these ingredients that are in the plate, okay, I've just taken out the tips of the red chilies, and whatever is in the plate, that is all the coconut, etc. I'm going to grind this with that water to a very, very fine paste. Now all the ingredients along with their correct measurements and the method of preparing the sorak is in the description box below. So I'm going to add all of this to my mixer pot along with the water, and I'm going to grind it to a very, very, very fine paste. That is very important for the sorak. So after grinding it, the sorak should look like this, a very fine paste. Now I'm just going to add this paste to the onions and the salt mixture that is in the pot. Now this is the masala water, that is the water which we wash the mixer with, and I'm going to add the turmeric powder, 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder, and I'm going to mix this really, really well. Now this sorak recipe doesn't have even a drop of oil, so and yet it tastes so very delicious. Now I'm just squeezing out the tamarind juice. So I soaked this tamarind for about 15 to 20 minutes in regular room temperature water, and then we just have to squeeze out the pulp of the tamarind, and we're going to add this. So this adds a lovely tangy flavor to this sorak. So this is a very beautiful curry, and you have to make this if you haven't made it yet. So I'm going to mix everything really, really well, and I'm going to add this masala water to it, and again give it a mix. And now we're just going to cook this on our gas top on a low to medium flame. We're going to simmer this for about 10 to 15 minutes. Let it cook really, really well. Now I'm going to add a pinch of sugar. Now remember, we already added salt initially when we were, when we mixed the salt with the onions. So now taste the sorak and then only add, salt to taste, because we've already added salt in the beginning. So only after you give this sorak a taste, you can add salt if required. And now all we have to do is just simmer it for another 5 to 10 minutes. And there it is, friends. Our sorak is ready. It goes so well with some rice, some fried fish, or some prawns, fried prawns. And the longer you keep it, it tastes even better. So I hope you like this lovely simple Goan recipe and I hope you give it a try. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you soon in my next video. Bye. So friends, let's see today's delicious recipe. So let's start. So here I have taken 1 cup of white vatanas or white peas, wash them thrice under water really well, and then I'm going to soak them in 2 cups of water for at least 5 to 6 hours. Also, I'm going to soak a little bit of tamarind, about 1 teaspoon of tamarind in some water. And now we're going to roast some spices and some other ingredients. So let's go through the ingredients. So here I have taken 1 tablespoon of fennel seeds, which is also called sauf. Next, we're going to use about 10 peppercorns, which is also called as mori. Next, we're going to go with 1 tablespoon of poppy seeds, also known as khaskhas. About 4 cloves, which is lavang. Then we're going to use 1 inch of cinnamon, also known as dalchini. 1 tablespoon of coriander seeds or dhania. And 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds or jeera. Now we're also going to be using about 4 dried red chilies, 1 medium-sized onion, half a cup of freshly grated coconut, and a few curry leaves, about 5 to 6 fresh curry leaves. So let's start with today's recipe. Now I'm going to take a pan and I'm going to dry roast all the whole spices, leaving out the dry red chilies, the onion and the curry leaves. All the other spices that I've shown you, we're going to dry roast them for about a minute or so till you get the lovely aroma. And then you're going to transfer this to a nice clean and dry bowl. Now in the same pan, after wiping it with a clean cloth, I'm just going to add about 1 teaspoon of oil. And now I'm going to add the dry red chilies, the curry leaves and the onion. And we're going to fry these 3 ingredients for about 2 to 3 minutes till you get the lovely aroma of the curry leaves and the onion and the chilies also fried well. We're going to transfer this to the bowl. And then I'm going to add just about half a teaspoon more of oil and we're going to add the fresh coconut. We're going to fry this coconut really well till it becomes nice and dark brown or light brown in color rather. So just fry it for about a minute or 2 and then you'll see that it turns into this light brown kind of fried coconut. We're going to add this to the bowl too. Now we're going to let all of these ingredients come to room temperature. And then we are going to add them to our mixer jar. And now I'm going to squeeze out the pulp of the tamarind. And we're going to use that water to grind this masala or the paste. So add the water. It should be about 4 or 5 tablespoons of water. And I'm also going to add another 4 teaspoons of plain water. And we're going to grind this to a very fine paste. So this is the paste that is ready. To that I'm going to add half a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Now I don't like to add the turmeric powder into the mixer jar because it discolors the lid. But if you want, you can go ahead and add the turmeric powder while you're grinding the paste itself. So now I'm going to be adding, now after 5 to 6 hours of soaking the vatana, I'm going to add it to the pressure pan. To that I'm going to add 1 small onion that I've chopped fine, a little bit of salt, mix all of this really well. And then we're going to cook this for 1 whistle on high and then simmer it or cook it on a very low flame for 10 minutes. So now we have our paste ready, and now we just have to let the bananas cook. So once the cooker has cooled down completely to room temperature, you can see that the white bananas or the white peas are now completely cooked. You can check by just, taking one of the bananas and just pressing them. They should just, crumble into pieces. That means it's cooked. If it's not cooked, then again add it back to your cooker and cook it for another 5 to 6 minutes. So now I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of oil. I've transferred the bananas to another bowl. And now once the oil is nice and hot, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of mustard seeds or mori or rye. And then I'm going to add half a teaspoon of hinga or asafoetida. Now I'm going to add this ground paste to the oil. And we're going to fry the paste really well. Keep your flame between low to medium and fry the paste well in the oil. And now to the bowl in which we had kept the paste, I'm just going to add a little bit of water, about 1/4 cup of water, and mix the paste so that we don't waste any of the lovely goodness of this paste that we ground. So we can use this water. So now I'm going to add the cooked bananas to the masala. The aroma in my kitchen is just fabulous with all of these lovely spices. Mix everything together. Now we're going to add this paste water. Mix everything well. Now this is a little bit of a thickish gravy, so don't add more water. We don't want it to be very runny. It should be more on the thicker side, like an usar. And now, of course, we're going to flavor it with some salt to taste. So you can add as much or as little salt as you like. Go give it a taste once you add the salt. Always add a little salt at a time. And then I also like to add just a little pinch of sugar. You can also add jaggery if you like. And then mix everything really well. And then I'm just going to cover and cook this for about 2 to 3 minutes on a low to medium flame, stirring in between. And now after 2 to 3 minutes, our lovely recipe is all ready. And I like to serve this with some hot chapatis or puris. You can also have this with pav. Don't forget to add a nice big dash of lime or lemon juice, and you can enjoy this. So I hope you like today's recipe. I hope you will give it a try. I'll see you soon. So let's make this delicious Goan drumstick dal. I washed and wiped dry 2 thick drumsticks or shenga, and I'm just going to use a peeler and take off the outer peel of the drumstick. Now I'm going to just cut off the edges, or the ends, and I'm going to cut them into about 2-inch size pieces. Now in the middle, if you do get some kind of peel coming off, take off that peel. And then this way, I'll just cut up everything. And also I'm going to be using cooked tur dal. So watch the video till the end because I'll show you how to cook your tur dal perfectly. Here is our drumsticks all ready for the recipe. So now I've heated up a pan and I'm going to add just half a tablespoon of oil. This does not require lots of oil. Spread the oil in the pan. Once the oil is hot, we're going to add half a teaspoon of mustard seeds, also called mori or rye. Then add a few fresh curry leaves, depending on how much you like curry leaves. I love curry leaves in any of my dals. Then mix everything really well together. Then we're going to add half a teaspoon of cumin seeds or jeera. Next, we're going to add half a teaspoon of asafoetida or hing, half a teaspoon of turmeric powder or haldi, and mix everything well together. Now I'm going to add the drumsticks that we prepped or prepared. Mix it well with the bagar or the fodni. Let it get nicely coated with all of the spices that we've added to the fodni or the bagar. And now I'm just going to add half a cup of water, and we're going to cook this, covering it for about 10 to 15 minutes on a low to medium flame because we want the drumsticks to get nicely cooked. Now once our drumsticks are cooked, you can see that the flesh of the or the pulp of the drumstick rather has turned to white. That means it is cooked. And now again, once we add the dal, it will still continue cooking, but we want to cook it basically with water. So once our drumsticks are nice and cooked, we're going to add this cooked tur dal. Now generally tur dal goes well with this recipe, but if you're used to using masoor dal, you can also add that. Mix everything really well together. Now you can add some more water if you require. If you want your dal to be thinner, you add water. If you want it a thicker consistency, then don't add the water. I'm just using the dal water. Now we're going to flavor it with some salt to taste. I'm going to be adding 1 teaspoon of jaggery or jaggery or gur. You can also substitute with sugar. And I'm going to add a little bit of kokum or amsula or sola. You can also add a little bit of tamarind juice. Then we're going to add half a teaspoon of red chili powder. You can adjust this according to your taste. If you want it more spicy, you add more. If you want it less spicy, add less. And then 2 to 3 teaspoons of this goda or kala masala. Now this is homemade. I leave a recipe for it, a link of my recipe rather. It's very simple. You can make a big batch of this and store it and use it for any kind of dal. It just takes the dal to a different level. Now this is optional, but I'm adding just about a tablespoon of grated coconut. This is completely optional. Mix everything well together. And now let this start to boil on a low to medium heat. Mix everything again. And then just cover and cook this on a low to medium heat for about 10 to 15 minutes till everything comes together really, really well. And now our lovely, delicious drumstick dal is all ready. I love to have this with some steamed rice and some lovely vegetable at the side. It's super delicious. And, it's very healthy too. So incorporate a lot of vegetables in your diet. It's really, really good. And now I'm just going to let you just take you through how I cook my tur dal perfectly. So here I've taken 3/4 of a cup of tur dal. I've washed it well under water. You need to wash it well. And then I'm just going to keep it aside for about, in 3 cups of water for about 2 to 3 minutes. And then I'm just going to put it into my pressure cooker. I'm going to add a little bit of turmeric powder and a little bit of hing. This is optional. You don't need to add it at this stage, but I like to add it for that lovely color. And asafoetida helps in digestion as well. And then I'm going to add just a little salt. You can skip the salt at this stage. This is just how I basically cook my dal. And then I'm just going to pressure cook it in my pressure pan for 1 whistle on high and then simmer it for 10 minutes. And then let it cool down in the pressure pan or in the cooker completely till the cooker cools down completely. And then after you take it out from the cooker, just take a whisk, or we have a wooden whisk at home which is called ravi. We just whisk it very well so that you get a very smooth consistency of the dal, and that's how you use your tur dal for this recipe. welcome back to Akshata's Recipes. Thank you so much for stopping by. So today's recipe is another Goan delight, which is Alsande, or also called chawli tonak. So we're going to make this with this chawli bhaji. Now I've also uploaded a similar recipe which you can make with white vatanas. So go and check that out too. I'll leave a link below. So this is very simple and easy to make. Now normally people always soak their chawli and then after that they boil it in the cooker and everything. So it's a pretty long process and you have to wait say for some few hours till the chawli is nice and soaked. But I'm going to show you a very quick and instant method of cooking chawli where your chawli is going to be ready in less than 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I learned this from my mother-in-law and I've been using it for the past so many years and it's never failed. So you're going to learn something new for all of you who don't know how to cook chawli instantly. Watch this video. And let's go to my kitchen and get started with today's recipe. So to cook your chawli or black-eyed beans instantly, I'm going to take about 1 cup of them in my pressure pan and I'm going to roast them for at least 5 minutes. Then I'm going to just rinse them thrice under running water. And then I'm just going to add about 1.5 cups of water to the pressure pan and I'm going to cook it on 1 whistle on high and simmer for 15 minutes. And then once the cooker is cool, you can see that your chawli is already nice and cooked. So this is the fastest way to cook it. Now we have all these spices and like red chilies, then some fresh coconut, some coriander seeds, garlic, peppercorns, a little bit of turmeric powder, then there's fennel seeds or soft, some cloves, mace, cinnamon. This is 1 onion chopped fine and 1 onion sliced, 1 small tomato, some fresh coriander leaves. So I've just soaked in some water to which salt has been added. Now all these ingredients along with their correct measurements will be in the description box below, so you can go there and see everything. Now I'm just taking about a tablespoon of oil in my pan, and once the oil is hot, I'm going to add in my 4 cloves of garlic, my 1 onion which I've sliced, about 10 dried red chilies. Then I'm going to add my fresh coconut. And we're going to fry all this really well till we get the aroma of the coconut and the onions and the garlic and everything is nice and fried. This is a very important step, that you fry everything very, very well. Now you can also make this masala paste and store it in your refrigerator and in a little larger quantity, and whenever you feel like making this tonak, you can make it. Now I'm just going to add all my whole spices like my fennel seeds, then the coriander seeds, the cloves, the cinnamon, the peppercorns, a little haldi powder or turmeric powder, and I'm going to fry that too in the oil, and then I'm going to mix everything well together and fry everything well together. And then we're just going to let this cool to room temperature, and then we're going to grind this to a very, very fine paste. So remember that the mixture has to cool completely. Don't put a very hot mixture into your mixer pot. And then we're just going to add a little bit of water, say about 1/4 cup of water, and we're going to grind this to a very smooth paste. Now you get this lovely orange color paste. And then also clean out your mixer for the reserve water. So just add some water, and we're going to use this water too for our recipe. So none of that lovely masala water goes to waste. And then we're just going to add about 1/2 tablespoon of oil to the same pan, and we're going to fry 1 onion which has been diced. Fry it well. Then we're going to add our small tomato. Let this fry well too. Then we're going to add our masala paste. And we're going to mix everything well together. Let this fry again well till you have some of the masala oil coming to the surface. So this should take you about 3 to 4 minutes to fry the masala well. This is also very important. And now we're going to add some salt to taste. Now I have another chawli recipe also, which is pretty simple. I'll leave a link below so you can see that recipe too if you want to make that recipe. And now we're just going to add the masala water and add a little more water because we want a little thinner gravy, not a very thick gravy. Or you can add as much as you want. If you like it on the thicker side, then add just little water. If you want a little more, with little more gravy, then add a little more water. And then just give everything a mix. And then just add a little bit of chopped coriander leaves. And then we're just going to cover it and cook it for about 5 to 10 minutes on a very low flame. And that's it, friends. Such a simple recipe, yet so delicious. Give it a try, guys. So friends, I hope you enjoyed today's video and the recipe, and I hope you're going to give it a try. And I'm sure you must be really happy of learning how to cook chawli instantly. Do share my recipes with family and friends. And if you like today's video, then please don't forget to hit the thumbs up icon that you see below this video. I do need those thumbs ups and I do need more subscribers. So do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already by hitting the red subscribe button. It's completely free. And once you have subscribed, a little bell icon will show up. Click that bell. That way, whenever I put up a new recipe, which I do almost daily, you will get a message for the same. Also, friends, if you want to if you're looking out for any particular recipe, since I've got more than 500 recipes, when you go to the YouTube app, in the search button, type the recipe and immediately type Akshata's recipes and my recipe will pop up first. For example, if you're looking for the Goan bath cake, type Goan bath cake, Akshata's recipes, and my recipe will come up first. So that's the way to find me on YouTube. And I'm very active on Facebook as well as on Instagram, and I have my own blog. All links are down in the description box below, as well as all my recipes. Whenever I put up a new recipe, if you look in the description box below, you have all the ingredients with all the measurements, the method and everything. And also at the end of the video, you will see 4 screens coming up with different recipes. So you just have to click on that screen and it will take you to my recipe directly. Also in the middle of the video, you will see something popping up in the middle, like a particular recipe. If you click on that, you will go to that recipe. So these are just little bit of hints as to how you can find different recipes on my channel. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of my channel and for watching my videos and for all your lovely comments and being so supportive. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I will catch you in my next video sooner than you think. I'll be signing off, but before that I'd like to say stay safe, stay healthy, stay fit, be loving and kind to one another. See you guys.